Count them. 5. Hour 5 of the Common Good-A-Thon. Here we go. Hat number 5. I've stayed with the same style. I do happen to have at least 5 colors of the same hat. Hour 5.
Hey, Doug, Jesus told this, had this teaching about, if you've got 2 coats, give one of them away.
That was all about coats. If I had 5 coats, I would give 4 of them away.
Okay.
I mean, curiously, I've studied every recorded word of Jesus and even some of the made-up ones from the other religions, other Christian religions. Nothing about hats. Not a thing. You have as many as you want.
Well, you're in luck then.
It's like if someone punches me in the cheek, I punch them back. If they slap me, then I turn my other cheek. So it's just,
it's a very literal.
I'm a biblical literalist.
Yes, as they might say, a strict constructionist approach to the Bible.
Why are we talking about all this? Because at Vote Common Good, we ask faith voters to make the common good their voting criteria. So we're both, and a lot of people in our world are very learned in the ways of the Christian faith. And if you are too, great. If you're not, glad to have you. Yeah. Don't really care. I mean, it's who we are. And we're asking you to make the common good your voting criteria. And that currently means considering detaching yourself from your voting habits of voting for Republicans. Because look, you just can't support insurrections and the common good. It's tough. It's a tough look. It's a real tough look. So that's some of the work that we do. We also help candidates make their connections, and we help people think about issues that matter. And one of the things that we've ended up doing here is to connect with lots of people who make media and do a lot of thinking. And that involves screenwriters, novelists. You're going to hear from actors. We're talking to politicians, elected officials, people running for office, social activists, from working on the border to working on death penalty to gun violence, like all these issues that really matter. And that's all on our Common Good-A-Thon. We're raising money. We have a $50,000 match. Somebody said, hey, if you guys get people to give you $50,000 over the next couple of weeks, I'll give you $50,000. If they give you $24,155, I'll give you $24,155. So we're asking people to make a financial contribution to our work. Please do it. Consider doing it. If something you just as soon do, head over to the website right now and make that donation right there, because it really would mean a lot to us if we saw that kind of thing happen. All right. So you're going to hear from Danny Strong. Danny Strong is one of those people I was mentioning before who's an actor. He's written a number of screenplays. He wrote a movie called The Butler, which some people saw, about the butler in the White House. Do you remember this one? Did you ever see The Butler? Do you know Danny wrote The Butler?
No.
Yeah, Danny's an actor. He's been in Gilmore Girls. That'll turn up some of your attention. He's in Billions. That's the other side of the audience demographic.
Yes.
I think the TV show Billions. He's the Treasury Secretary. So I still think of him, as Treasury Secretary. But he's also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a number of other movies and television shows, and he's written a show called Dope Sick, and was with us on our immigration ride along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Do you know what Danny created? Danny created the show Empire.
Hey, created Empire. Forgot about that one. Yeah. Boy, this guy's gotten a lot done.
I know.
What do we do? See, change hats and talk all day.
Yeah.
Danny's gotten a lot done. Part of it was he was with us on part of our ride in along the U.S.-Mexico border, and then traveled with us for a number of days on our immigration tour as we were talking about the issues of immigration. He gave this presentation. He would have been with us today. Sent a text and was just heartbroken he couldn't be here live because he's on an airplane flying to London. Normally, I would say to people, they'd say, hey, I can't be with you. I'm traveling on Thursday. A lot of people were traveling today. I'm like, I don't know how long your flight is, but could you whip up 10 minutes for us? Danny actually couldn't, because he was going to be in the air for 12 hours flying to London. So anyway, couldn't be with us. But want to show you some of what he had to share. It's really great. We're going to first show you Dope Sick. I hope this doesn't cause some sort of crisis in the internet because of, sound, things.
Copyright violations.
Copyright violations.
Hey, listen, we have got permission from the creator, executive producer of the show to show this.
Yeah. Which the algorithm just does not care about. It's the thing about algorithms. Now that algorithms run our world, the robots don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care about any of us. They just cut. All right, but here it is. So Danny Strong talked to us. He made the show on Hulu called Dope Sick. It's about the opioid crisis. Opioid crisis has devastated America. It's connected to political corruption. It's actually also deeply connected to issues of immigration. So,
Yep.
but here's Danny. So he makes this video, or this TV show. We show that a little bit of the trailer, and then he stands in front of a group of people and talks. And what he says, I think, really matters. Is a perfect contribution to the Common Good-A-Thon. So here's our friend, supporter, booster, producer, actor, writer, common good doer, Danny Strong.
Dope Sick tells the story of how Purdue Pharma sold opioids to the American population as if they were safe, knowing all along that they were addictive. The connection between the stories told in the media about opioids and the stories told about immigration share a common reality. They're just simply not true. The dangers that have come from opioid addiction have come from inside the United States. Building a wall or trying to keep immigrants or trying to keep asylum seekers out of our country is not the way that we're going to solve the problems related to opioid and drug addiction in this country. And like so many of us on the ride, Danny wants to tell his story about what he experienced. Here he is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Holland, Michigan.
Well, thanks for sitting through the trailer here, and thank you, Doug. Truly amazing organization. I'm really feel honored to be a part of this. One of the reasons why I wanted to make Dope Sick, which is the story of the opioid crisis, was because I was blown away by the lies and the deception of this company, Purdue Pharma, in selling a highly addictive narcotic as non-addictive. And from that lie, we have the opioid crisis, which you're all familiar with. But one of the things that was so fascinating to me about it, and so disturbing about it, was how this company was able to maneuver through the highest levels of the US government. The FDA, the DEA, the Justice Department, all the institutions of government that were there to stop them, to protect us from dishonest companies like Purdue Pharma, like the Sackler family who run Purdue Pharma. They let them go. They failed us. And people often ask me, how did that happen? And the answer is very simple. It's money. They were able to use their money and the amount of money that this product made to maneuver their way through and to keep selling all these years later. And when I look at the border situation, one of the first things that crosses my mind about the wall, the policies, is that same word, which is money. It is a huge business, and it's a business that motivates the US government to keep it going. One of the elements of it is just the private prisons. These private prisons, I believe there are 4 in just Arizona alone. The number of hotels all along the border that are occupied, 80% by US government officials. So it's literally a big, huge business that there is a lot of motivation from people at the highest levels to keep going that has nothing to do with immigration policy. Now, when Pastor Doug asked me to come to the border to bike for a few days, I didn't really know anything about the border besides the general perception of it, which is that it's dangerous, right? I mean, that's the media narrative about the border, which, you know, it's lawless, it's dangerous, it's a war zone, it's cartel-ridden. And I thought, well, I assumed that wasn't completely true, and Pastor Doug was going to be there. He's very tall, so I felt like, well, I'll be safe with Doug. And my fiance, she was terrified that I was going to go bike along the border. I'm like, baby, don't worry, I'm very tough. I can handle this, right? So we show up there on the border, and there was maybe 6 of us, 7 of us, all in matching blue shirts. It's not the toughest group you've ever seen. And what did we see there? Was it dangerous? Was it violent? Was it scary? The polar opposite in every way. It was completely normal. Just people living their lives. I mean, the strangest thing that was there on the border was us biking in our matching shirts through Mexico. And we were biking through Mexico, and what did people do? They waved, you know? They waved. Some people looked at us a little weird, like, you know, like, what are you guys doing? I'd wave, and they'd wave back. It was so friendly, so normal. And Doug, this was mostly your experience across the entire border, wasn't it? You know, that it was just this polar opposite of what the media narrative is. Now, there was one element to it that was scary and that was unsettling, and that was the wall. The wall was the scariest part of the border, and not on the Mexico side. On the Mexico side, looking at the wall, there are parts of it where there are murals, it's painted, but on the U.S. side, there is this barbed wire that makes it look like a prison. Except the people that are in prison, according to the visual of this wall, is the United States. We're the ones that are in prison. I mean, this is me looking at the wall, right? And I remember having this feeling of, oh, it's our souls are imprisoned by this wall. This is not who we are. This wall, it felt like it was filled with anger and hate. And it made me thinking, you know, where does this come from? Where does all of this come from? And there's a pretty clear answer, which is the media narrative. That is the opposite, as I said, of what I and what Doug actually experienced along this ride. And who are the victims of that narrative? Well, everyone you've heard about tonight. You know, these incredible videos and these people and the presentations by Dora and Alma that are, you know, so deeply moving. They're the ones that are the heroes, having to protect the people that are the victims of our policy. And, you know, and I'll just say that as someone who works in the media, in entertainment, one of the things that's I find really disturbing is that I see in news stories, and this just isn't just Fox News, you know, I see this on CNN, I see this on MSNBC, I see this on Twitter when you look at links to articles, that there is an extremism, and the extremism is so you'll watch it. The news, it wants to make you angry. It wants to make you scared. Because it's trying to entertain you in a weird way, in the way that me and my friends that write material and write scripted drama, the way that we're trying to entertain you, except we're trying to do it as, quote, entertainment, right? But the news is doing it because it wants you to watch. It wants you to click. And it's doing it with extremism, with heightened drama, with manipulating the truth, or in the case of the border, creating a false narrative. And what does that do when we watch it? It makes us angry. It agitates us. And that anger makes our fellow citizens our enemies if they don't believe the same thing we believe. I spoke to a couple tonight who they changed their vote in 2016 from Trump to in 2020 to Biden, and friends didn't talk to them anymore. That doesn't feel like who we are as a people or what this country is about. But I believe that these narratives that we're fed, it gives this anger that makes us hate our people that don't believe the exact same thing we believe. And so, you know, one thing I would love to just, you know, for you to be a gospel of, to spread, is to look at the news and look at when it's trying to scare you, or trying to make you nervous, or trying to get you to click. And once you start thinking this way, I did that like I'm going crazy, which I am going a little crazy with watching all this stuff, you start to see it everywhere. You start to realize how much that extremism is being used to just get eyeballs so that people can make money from it. And all of this comes back to where I began, which is money. And we've got the Sackler family with the opioid crisis making money. We've got the owners of private prisons along the border making money. We've got a few small families that own media empires making money. It's a very small group of people making a lot of money off of tearing apart this country, off of creating this hatred amongst people that are just coming to this country seeking better lives. And in doing so, I think we need them as much as they need us. And I think that what Pastor Doug is doing, what this whole mission is doing, is, I think, one of the most important narratives that can be told in this country today. So thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, there it is, Danny Strong.
Danny Strong.
He's just a great storyteller. Makes great movies. Also wrote the Hunger Games, the last 3 Hunger Games movies. Boy, the guy just makes stuff. We're glad to have him part of this. And look, we have to change our laws, and some of us have determined the best way to change your laws is to change out your lawmakers. It's hard to get a person to teach new tricks to old guitar players. So you just swap out the lawmakers. So that's partly why we're talking to filmmakers, actors, screenwriters, social activists, and do-gooders, and also people running for office.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Patrick Schmidt on in just a minute. He's running for Congress in Kansas, and as soon as I said that, boom, he's on.
He's on. See, spoken into
Patrick,
reality.
we've had the chance to meet so many different candidates and over the this election cycle, and Patrick, your story always just kind of blows me away. How you were working in DC in naval intelligence, saw what took place on January 6th, and your response was, I got to move home and run for Congress. And so you moved home to Kansas to run for Congress. Tell us a bit thanks for being with us today. Tell us a bit about that story and, fill folks in that maybe haven't heard it yet.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't originally see this for myself, as we talked about before. I was stationed at the Office of Naval Intelligence in Washington, D.C. I'd previously served on board the USS Ronald Reagan in the Middle East supporting special forces, but I saw the attack on the Capitol because I was living across the street, and I was horrified. The only time in my life that I've seen that kind of violence, seen people attack police, seen people try to kill officers of our government, and I also realized that the same people that supported that have been voting against the things that make Kansas a better place to live, voting against the things that help people raise their family and grow their businesses. Things like getting rid of lead pipes, things like keeping hospitals open, strengthening our healthcare, getting more education, especially in terms of special education, roads, bridges, expanding internet access, and that we have to beat them if we want to see those kind of changes in our communities. And I filed a year ago yesterday. It's hard to believe.
Happy anniversary.
Thank
Happy
you.
Save Democracy anniversary. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No, it's hard to believe how far we've come since then. A lot of hard days, but really encouraged by what we've been able to build. And we started canvassing about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And I personally have had the chance to talk to thousands of voters since then, and many thousands more through the rest of my team. And it's been the best part of the last year, the opportunity to make this election real for these voters in a way that I don't think it was before. And typically being the first and only campaigns that have talked to the communities that we've talked to, helping them understand that there's a direct correlation between their vote and our ability to make Kansas better. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. And I'm excited in a couple hours to go out again tonight.
Well, that's great. There's this famous old political book about what's wrong with Kansas. That thing where it tries to describe this. Imagine people in Kansas don't take so kindly to that. What's right about Kansas? What's the goodness that's in Kansas that that you're like, hey, I know this country and I know how this should go. When you think we're doing this Common Good-A-Thon and people sharing about the good that they see,
sure.
Brag on Kansas for a bit. What's the what's the goodness that we see there, that when someone clicks their heels and they come back to Kansas, they say, well, I'm glad to be home.
Well, I guess I think about my own family when you ask that question, the resiliency and success that my family has had. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about my great grandmother, who 101 years ago in May, they brought her husband back on the cooling board after he died in a coal mine explosion. She was 8 months pregnant with my grandmother, and she, she taught for the next over 50 years, not just raising my grandmother to also become a teacher, who had my mom, who also became a teacher, but had four very successful grandchildren. She helped raise them, who responded to the advertisements, to teach classes of difficult boys in Kansas City, and frankly, what boys aren't difficult. And on my dad's side, 5 generations of farmers, just Ukraine, Prussian refugees from modern day Ukraine, that brought the very seeds now that are being harvested all across the state, and frankly over a lot of the country, from Ukraine to that are compensating for the global wheat shortages we're seeing right now from this war. So Kansas punches above its weight in every possible way. When I was stuck on when I was on the USS Ronald Reagan, stuck in the middle of the ocean for a couple of years, one of the things that we, as an intelligence officer, that we looked at the most was the reports from the P-8s that fly up and down the coast of China every day. Where are those P-8s made? They're made in Kansas. Where are the P-8s that are flying close to Ukraine right now to collect, to see what's going on? They're made in Kansas. We punch above our ways in so many ways, and we need to support the people that make that possible. Families, teachers, kids, safe communities, healthy communities, and there's so much more that we could be doing to make that happen.
Great answer.
Wow. Yeah. So Patrick, tell us, from your own perspective, what's the good that you're up to in the world? How would you describe that?
I'm excited to bring this race to people that haven't, maybe haven't taken a look at it before, or maybe need to take another look. I was, when I first started out about 5 weeks ago, knocking on doors. This was about a half mile from my house, and the woman that I spoke to then, she was at her parents' house. She's about 8.5 months pregnant, on Medicaid, and she was worried about how she was going to pay for her delivery. And she was worried because she knew she was going to be kicked off of Medicaid in Kansas almost as soon as she gives birth. Wow. She was worried about her ability to find a good job afterwards and make sure that her new baby could go to the doctor. She said that her doctor told her a starter delivery would cost her about $25,000. And our success here, we can help, especially in states like Kansas, where some officials have blocked that Medicaid expansion. We can help those people. We can help the subsidy rates for states like Kansas, where unfortunately people aren't, elected officials aren't thinking about how do we support those families. And that money can support more OBGYNs in more places. That money can directly correlates to healthier families. So that's something that we need to support people that are having kids in Kansas, because right now it's not happening. Right now it's not happening. And I take that very seriously. I've also learned a lot. A lot of the underserved communities that we have talked to, they have very very clear understanding of what they need. I was saddened to hear a couple of nights ago. I was again knocking on doors in Topeka. Unbeknownst to me, someone lost their life 2 doors down, and from the woman that I was talking to that previous night, and this wasn't the first incident of crime in that neighborhood. But what she did tell me is that um, the police are slow to respond to that area. Very very lengthy response times unless there's some incident like that. And there's again that's an area where there are federal monies, federal programs available that will directly impact that community's ability to address that problem. There's money through Medicaid expansion to help with mental health care, to help with addiction challenges. That we can start to chip away and maybe just make things a little bit better, slowly but surely, but make them a little bit better. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's great. So
well, that's such an important way to think about it, Patrick. And look, politics. We were talking about this earlier. We've been at this we're going to our 5th hour here, right? So we've been at this for a while. So a couple of hours ago, we brought up the fact that in politics, successes never seem as satisfying as the dissatisfaction that comes from things not getting done, right? It's just sort of, it might be that way in life, right? Like you long for something, when you finally get it, you're like, it was not nearly as satisfying as I am irritated by the fact they don't have this other thing that I'm waiting on or whatever. So, but it's true in politics. And the other thing is that incrementalism, or let's make the little changes where we can, and that doesn't sell well to people. They don't, but it's the reality. Everybody who who works in politics, mayors, whether they're, partisan or not, all the way up to presidents of the United States. And then people in the international work are always talking about what can we do to make the next right step, right? It's like, how can we just make things better and keep increasing? How do you balance that reality of what politics truly is with the campaign promises where people are like, my life didn't change when, so-and-so got elected? Like, well, it kind of did. So you see what I'm getting at? And do you have any thoughts about that? Like, how do you mix all that together? And what do you do about that?
One of my mentors tells me that Babe Ruth struck out a lot. Babe Ruth struck out a lot. And the other thing is, I'm thinking about someone that I talked to, working parents whose son was born with congenital heart defects. And they only have coverage for him because of the Affordable Care Act. I think that family and the families like theirs that have been able to have multi-million dollars, however many millions of dollars of life-saving care, so that kid had a shot in life. That's not incrementalism. And any chance, if we have a chance to save one life through violence prevention programs, if we have a chance to save one life through expanded mental health care in my district, or keeping hospitals open, or whatever it is, getting rid of lead pipes. I reject any derogatory reference to that as incrementalism, because the fact is that there is just so much low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So much hanging fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. It's almost like incrementalism is life changing for people in certain circumstances, right? Yeah. It's really changes the whole ball game for them. Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah. So I was on a call last night with some folks in Kansas, and your name came up, Patrick, and one of the ladies on the call said, "I really like that guy. He's called me twice asking for money." And so of course I said, "Well, have you donated yet?" So how can folks donate? How can they find you? How can they get connected? How can they help? How they maybe folks are watching, and they live in a deep blue district, and they want to help somebody who's it would be a really big deal if you were when you're able to win this race. And that's going to be a really big deal, and they want to be able to help. How can they do that? How can they find you?
Well,
Sure.
Patrick will
Check.
call them. They'll just call them, right? They'll just wait and answer those
Yeah.
calls when they come. You just
That's
call 'em.
true. Yeah, our website is patrickforkansas.com. We're just having this conversation last night. We need to get a volunteer page up on our website, but until then, you can email us at info@patrickforkansas.com. And yeah, we'd love to have your support. You can check us out on Facebook and Twitter, both linked on our website, because we do need all the help we can get. It doesn't take a lot to do this. What we're doing through our campaign, it's one of the most effective, cost efficient ways to run a campaign. This is a Kansas run, Kansas led, Kansas managed race. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the team that we built, the culture that we have. And people, again, like the state itself, I think that we're punching above our weight in every way possible, and their investment, whether it's their dollar, their time, or anything else, is going to go farther here, I think, than any other race you can find.
Yeah, totally agree. Patrick, thanks so much for being with us. Thanks for being
Okay.
a candidate for common good and spending a couple of minutes with us on the Good-A-Thon today. You're one of our favorites in the Heartland, and we really appreciate all that you're doing.
Yeah, it's really
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah. Well, listen,
you.
we get to go from like one favorite candidate to another because boom. Kelly Kraut is joining us now, and we talked earlier with Chris Jones, who's running to be the governor of Arkansas. We're going to talk now with Kelly Kraut, who's running to be the lieutenant governor of Arkansas. And Arkansas is one of those places where
Look at that shirt.
we actually, I gotta get one of those.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that? What does that cost? What kind of donation can somebody make to land
I
themselves?
believe a $30 donation will get you this amazingly soft shirt. Says Kelly for Arkansas.
I'm
shows your
literally-
pride.
I mean, I never thought in the middle of a Common Good-A-Thon fundraiser, I'm going to go somewhere else and make a donation, but I'm doing it right now because I want one of those shirts. I'm the worst donor in the world. I'm doing it for the shirt. Well, and for you.
Yeah.
I think that you should be lieutenant governor.
Yeah. So in Arkansas, we elect, I'm an Arkansan, so I say we, Arkansas elects their governor and their lieutenant governor separately. So it's not like presidential election where you've got the president and the vice president and they're running on the same ticket. It's that way in Ohio. In Arkansas, it's not that way. And so Kelly, you are running for lieutenant governor, and and want to be the second leading executive in our state. Tell us about how the race is going, about how things are going for you, and what life is like on the campaign trail.
Hey, it's an exciting time. The last time I talked with you guys, I was sitting on the floor of a different kid's bedroom. So this one's, I didn't know you were live streaming it at that time. So I tried to clean up a little bit this time. This is a different kid room. So it's busy. We've got a lot of kids, and we like to involve them when we can, but everybody's home for summer. So it gets a little wild, but I love getting to travel all over the state and meet as many people as we can. And people are really excited about the campaign. My campaign's a little bit funky. We do things a little bit differently and enjoy that. And I think it's bringing in kind of a fresh group of people who haven't been involved in politics, but we're staying busy. We're traveling whenever we can travel. When I'm home, I'm making phone calls and making, videos and social media stuff, and just trying to get people involved in the process.
Yep. If you are on TikTok, Kelly is a must follow on TikTok, and one of the best political TikTokers out there. So tell us about what's a lieutenant governor do? Like, do you just wait around hoping that the governor dies? What do you like? What is this all about?
Don't you get me quoted on something terrible like that. No, so the lieutenant governor presides over the Senate and would provide a tie-breaking vote, which we do not see many ties here in the state of Arkansas with a supermajority, but it is an important role. And then they would serve as governor if the governor were to resign or pass away. It could be either. But it's not like if the governor leaves town, lieutenant governor steps in. That's not how that works here. So it is a very short job description, those two things. And what's unique about lieutenant governor to me, and part of what drew me to this office, is the ability to just advocate for issues that are important to Arkansans. And so you've got kind of a bully pulpit, as they call it, to be able to use that position to be able to just fight for Arkansans and what people actually need. Like you said, it's the second highest executive leadership position. And so it's just a really unique opportunity to be able to be a voice for families.
Yeah. So, I think most people, who pay attention to politics, we talked to Chris Jones earlier today, and they would be familiar with his opponent, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, from her time at the White House. And your opponent in this race, and I know you run like a super positive race, so you don't talk about your opponent much, but our folks that that pay attention to the work of Vote Common Good, they're sensitive to kind of Trump Republicanism, Trump and Christian nationalism, and how white Christian nationalism has invaded the Republican Party, and like these are all concerns that are on people's minds. And your opponent has really positioned herself right in the center of all of that. And
she has.
Talk about that a little bit. Give everybody a sense of what Leslie Rutledge is like as a leader here in Arkansas.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. I do try to keep things real positive. I try not to mention her name when it can be avoided, because I'm not out here to give her more Google hits. But I'm also pretty firm in that, I wouldn't say anything about Leslie that I wouldn't say if she was sitting right here. So Leslie Rutledge is the current attorney general of our state. And so she's running for lieutenant governor. So she's actually the one who certified into law, like the abortion ban. And she's leading the charge on trying to strip healthcare rights from trans youth in the state. And so she has, definitely adopted that Trump Republican stance and is very, very conservative. Her motto, mantra is a gun-toting conservative mama. And so we just have very, very different focuses and priorities. I think it's a pretty stark contrast for voters. And, I a lot of people are tired of how extreme things have become. Even conservative voters I'm hearing from are like, what? I'm not comfortable with this level.
Yeah. I think you're exactly right. That the sense that I've had is that so much of what's been taking place, particularly with, SCOTUS decisions on Roe and other things. I mean, because there's just been a litany of them. With all of the push back to, well, the states are going to decide this, the states are going to decide this, the states are going to decide this. State positions are tremendously important. They always have been, but now it's just kind of realizing how tremendously important they are. And I think that as more and more state legislatures enact really extreme policies, I think it's going to cause folks who identify as conservative, or maybe identify as pro-life, or maybe have been, evangelical or Catholic voters in the past, who now think like, I'm not sure I'm okay with this extremism. Are you sensing that same thing could be taking place? And certainly it's not going to be everybody, but could be enough people to make a difference in especially close elections.
I think so. I hear from people all of the time who are wanting to enter that conversation and kind of think about why they think things a certain way. And I think that's what makes me kind of a unique candidate, is that I used to be pretty conservative, and I do a lot of talking on my platform about, hey, I used to think this way, and here's a few things that kind of changed my mind. And you're welcome to ask questions here in a judgment-free zone. I actually just bumped into a friend today at Sam's Club earlier, who I was in a college class with about stereotypes and prejudice. And I was like, man, do you remember some of those embarrassing questions that I asked now. Like, I look back and I'm like, I can't even believe that came out of my mouth. And I was so relieved he did not, in fact, remember that. I do, because I had cringe later when I realized, oh my God, that was just a terrible thing to say, but I didn't know better. And we've got to create space for people who are willing to learn and engage in conversation and not make them feel stupid. And I told him, I don't expect marginalized communities to be out there defending themselves like this, but let me use the privilege that I have to step in and speak for you in those scenarios so that we can bring people into the fold, because we're not going to make anybody change their mind by making them feel stupid. And so I just welcome the questions. I welcome the conversation, and I can speak from experience. I used to think this, and now I think this. And if I change my mind, other people can change their minds too. And they do. And they tell me all the time. So we've definitely got some momentum going in what I consider the right direction.
Yeah. There's a verse in the Bible, in the book of Romans, where the Apostle Paul writes that it is God's kindness that brings us to repentance. You know, it's not judgment, it's not guilt, it's not shame, it's not, arguing with someone that changes minds and changes lives. It's kindness, it's understanding, it's opening up space. Like, that's actually, you think about any of the times that you have changed in your life. Have you done it because somebody yelled at you? No. Like, you did it because someone was kind and let you ask questions and, shared their experience, all the things that you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to make that space for other people so that we can catch people who are wanting to kind of figure out what they think.
Yeah. So we've been asking folks, tell us about the good that you're up to in the world. So, like, certainly there's the campaign and all of that, but like, how do you think about like the good that you're trying to do in the world right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned I really try hard to run a positive campaign, and I guess it is campaign related, but so much feels very dark and heavy right now. And I am trying to present politics in a way that's a little bit lighter, a little bit friendlier and kinder, and just get people involved who haven't been involved. And it's really neat to see, especially these young people, come out feeling empowered. Like, hey, it's going to be my first time to vote, and I'm so excited to vote. And building that political engagement at an age that if you start being involved here, you're going to stay involved. And, I don't really think the data is accounting for how many young people are tired of how things are. And I feel like I'm in a really unique position to be able to offer hope to people. And hey, we don't have to do it the same way we've always been doing it. We can do things totally different and make a change this way. And so I'm just trying to kind of offer that lighter, kinder, hopeful, perspective.
Yeah. I feel lucky. I think I posted this on election day, on primary day, but like, so often people feel like they go to the polls and they vote for like the lesser of two evils, and they have to kind of like hold their nose and think like, I guess I'll vote for them because I really don't want that other person. Man, I just, as a person here in Arkansas, I feel so lucky that like at the top of the ticket, I get to go and vote for two people that I really want to be the governor and lieutenant governor of my state. Like, I am excited to vote for Chris and excited to vote for you. And so I hopefully others feel that way as well. Kelly, if this is our Good-A-Thon, where we're trying to raise money for the work that we do here at Vote Common Good. But we also know that, the work that you're doing running for lieutenant governor, getting to all 75 counties in Arkansas, getting all over the state, you live in the northwest corner, so you've got, if you're going to visit West Memphis, it's a bit of a hike for you.
That's a drive.
All of that costs money. So how can folks find you? How can they donate? How can they help? Where can they get their awesome, super comfortable Kelly t-shirt? Where can they find you?
Easy peasy. KellyForArkansas.com. It's Kelly with a Y, and we've got all kinds of opportunities to volunteer on the website. We take a lot of pride in our merch. Okay, we've got a lot of fun merch that's super soft, and that's so helpful because you get a fun T-shirt. You've donated to the campaign, which is amazingly helpful, and then that's helping me with the name recognition. You wear that to the store, and you wear that to your night out or whatever. A friend of mine texted me last night and said, I'm at a party wearing your shirt, and everybody in here is like, I'm voting for that girl. Like,
Yeah.
that helps me out a lot.
Yeah.
So
Vanessa and
I'm
I
easy
on
to
Vanessa
Go
and
ahead.
I on Sunday mornings we go for long walks. Since we retired from pastoral ministry, we've spent Sunday mornings going for long walks where we'll walk on the Arkansas Razorback Greenway. We'll 8-10 miles, and I will often, most Sunday mornings, I wear my Chris Jones for Governor shirt just because I know I'm going to see people walking the other way. And like, this is my
Walking
chance to do a little name recognition for Chris. So I've got to get a Kelly shirt so I can
We
rotate
can
them
take
in and
that
out,
from you, bro.
every other week. Yeah. So
And
folks need to
follow on
find you
social
Kelly
media.
for Arkansas.
And Kelly for Arkansas on all the platforms. I'm easy to find, and I put a lot of stuff out there, so it's easy to see what I care about and easy to get involved.
Yeah, great. Kelly, we love you. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us, and we're rooting for you, and thanks for joining the Good-A-Thon. Keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you. Kelly Kraut, you are on mute, Doug.
But I ordered my shirt.
Oh, fantastic. She's so, when she said the world is so dark and she's trying to bring a little bit of light through her campaign, it's absolutely the case. She is so positive, and I've bumped into Kelly at a coffee shop. I've been to campaign events. I've been to rallies. I've seen Kelly around. That's the way she is, period. Like, she is positive and encouraging and just like exactly the kind of person you would want as a leader in your state. And I'm dead serious. I'm excited about the people I get to vote for, and that is, some people don't get the chance to experience that, but we've got it here in Arkansas.
Well, back before Barack Obama was elected president, I wrote a book called A Christianity Worth Believing. The subtitle is A Hope-Filled, Open-Armed, Alive and Well Faith for the Left Out, Left Behind, and Let Down in Us All. And a publisher said about the book when they passed on publishing it, yeah, hope doesn't sell. got right to the deep, right to the subtitle is Hope-Filled, Open-Armed, Alive and Well Faith. And then we got Faith, Hope, and Love. And like, hope doesn't sell. And, he's not in the publishing business anymore, that guy. And I hope he was wrong. I hope Kelly is right. Positivity can sell, that people will vote on it, that it will motivate them, that you can actually say to, may we Ted Lasso this thing into a different political space, right? Like, it doesn't all have to be, Breaking Bad and Mad Men and the other, anti-hero characters. Maybe Kelly.
Speaking of goodness, I just got a text that says Doug Shorts with his dress shirt with a little laughing emoji.
Yeah, so, let's make it perfectly clear. Anybody else that's on a Zoom, ever been on a Zoom call? That's exactly what's going on here. We're at the end of hour 5. Yeah. Come on. Anybody else?
Great.
Think anybody else is not, also going pantsless?
So
frankly, you're lucky I have shorts on. What a moment. Hey, we're trying to raise a little money around here, but we're also trying to raise a little hope. Hope doesn't sell, but it's all we got. It's all we got. Who was it? Your wife? Is it your wife that sent that message? Who's texting you? Who's watching this right now and texting you?
That was someone who's going to be on the show. Someone who's going to be on with us later today. Keith Davenport, your favorite furniture
Keith Davenport. God, I forgot Keith Davenport was going to be on. I want to take this thing upstairs and lay on my
sit on the couch.
Oh, just God, love him. Man's named after.
He told me last night that he's going to send you a campaign sign to put down there with your other ones so that you can have a Davenport in your office. I got the 3 little dots. He's texting me right now. He's watching this live. And
no, Davenport. I'm not kidding. If you have a shirt, if you have like Davenport the campaign shirt, and I don't get a little a Davenport shirt. But now, Rob, that's sort of, I've never thought of this for a minute, that all the campaigns that we support, we should make a donation to each one of them, get one of their yard signs, and make a wall of signs. There's a Davenport. Okay, Keith, when we're done with the Common Good-A-Thon today, we will just, we'll talk about how to design that thing in the shape of a 1968 Davenport.
It is in the shape of the
all right.
state
Anyway,
of Kansas
so
right
that's
now.
coming. We don't want to fully get it. I don't want to use up
Yeah.
all my Davenport humor.
Hey, listen,
Right.
we are at 20.
Where are we?
We are at $24,348. We're about to come back. We're going to take a little break at the top of the hour. I'm with Corey Archibald here. Can we get to 50% by I don't know, the start of the next hour?
Let's do it. Is that $600? $600, something like that. $630.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, this is what NPR does this all the time. Where I am, like they run ads and then they also ask for money. Unbelievable what they've figured out here. I don't know what public radio is like where you are, but where I am, in the middle of a pledge campaign, they're running ads. Unbelievable. I mean, they figured it out. Good for them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got Randy.
We need
okay.
we need $700 to get us over the 50% mark. That would be that'd be great to have somebody.
We got a donor match coming on. If we can land this thing in the next 1 minute and 42 seconds, if we can get a $700 donation, that would really push us over the top. And we just want to see this hour close out.
And if Vote Common Good tote bags to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we got buttons. Hey, I got a bunch of books that it turns out the guy at the publishing house was right. These things don't sell, so I got boxes full of them still. Hope doesn't sell, but I got a little like Christianity Worth Believing, a hope-filled, open-armed, alive and well-faith, the left out, left behind, let down, and assault. If you're looking for one of those, if you want a button, I'm telling you, somebody you make a Okay, anybody makes a donation before 4:00, and we see it. Like if you do it online, if you go to votecommonggood.com and click on the donation there, and you get that thing in, we will send you buttons. I don't know. We might have someone drive it to your house, and because sometimes just packaging these things up is too expensive. So we'll just have somebody hand deliver the thing. All right. So hey, in just a minute, we're going to be back with Randy McCallion, and Randy is also running for office in Missouri. So we're gonna ask
in the Midwest
to show us the winning campaign in the Show Me state. So we're going to be back. If you are watching this now and you want to keep watching, which we hope you do, and you invite a friend, call your auntie, call your uncle, call your friends, get them all on here. We're entering into hour number 6. Does that seem right? Yeah, we're entering into hour number 6. So we're moving to 2 hands. Going to be holding up 2 hands here when we start. It's going to all refresh wherever you're watching this. If you've been watching only on Facebook, thanks. Go over to our YouTube channel. It just helps us for all kinds of other reasons that you can know about when you get over there. But we'd love to see you over there on the YouTube channel or on the Vote Common Good page, or keep watching on Facebook. We really don't care. So we'll be back with Randy McCallion and Rob Schenk in the same hour. Wow, it's fantastic. Wow. This is a great idea. Good idea, Rob. All right, let's get somebody to donate $700 right now, and we'll hit the $25,000 mark before we get into hour 6. All right, and if not, we're just going to beg you for an hour to get us to $25,000 by the time we're halfway.